My mother was throwing away things recently, and so she unearthed this relic. As some of you may know, a boomerang can be used as a weapon, which is how it got damaged back in the war. I don't know if the Americans here know about the Great War Down Under, but every Australian knows this story. I remember the day it all started. It was an ordinary day when we used to watch the lightning over the cane fields. There was a strange rumbling in the distance, and I turned to my friend and I asked him, "What's that noise?" "What noise?" he asked. "Can't you hear?" I said. "Can't you hear the thunder?" And suddenly people around us started panicking and screaming, and my friend goes, "That's not thunder, you better run, you better take cover." That was the day the East decided to bomb us. It wasn't long before the country was divided and we were at war. It was a bloody war. I remember they used to yell "advance" whenever they went to battle, which is fair enough. You know, back in 1901, from the formation of the Federation, WA has been unsure of whether or not they should be part of this country. This war decided it once and for all. The local commander for my regiment used to call me Bluey on account of my red hair. That poor colourblind man. This is my father's boomerang, but it was handed down to me in defence of Perth in the Great War Down Under. I was only 19. There were many casualties. Many sheep farmers were displaced during the conflict. We asked the Indigenous Australians to help us fight, but they just turned their backs on us. The East used trained dingoes to sneak into our houses when we slept and steal our babies to demoralise us. One had killed my kangaroo that I rode into battle with. Poor Joey, rest his soul. I was face to face with that dingo. His face stained blood red from the kill. I threw my boomerang, he dodged and he charged at me. Just before he came up to bite me, it came from behind and whacked him across the head. Silly dingo. Fell for the oldest trick in the book. The war got worse. We turned mate against mate. My mate Wilson wanted to go into the bush and join the resistance that would fight against both sides. I told him, "Listen mate, don't you didgeridoo do what I think you're gonna do. Don't you become a rebel, Wilson." He went off into the far sweeping plains and rugged mountain ranges. Last I heard of him, he died in flooding rain, which was ironic because we'd just gone through a nasty drought that we didn't think we'd survive through. We started training emus against them. They have a history of being effective in wars, especially back in the 30s. There were so many of them that even the machine guns didn't make a dent, but eventually the toll was too great. There was a Vegemite shortage. It was disastrous. Toast got bland. Cheeks got less rosy. Bruce, my other mate, and I just got sick of it. This wasn't the hard yakka we'd signed up for. Thankfully, a year after the bloodshed had begun, the last plane from Sydney left to attack us before all the leaders sat down to discuss the end of the war. The Prime Minister sat in his silver chair and signed a treaty that ended the war. Finally we could celebrate. We had a good old-fashioned barbie down at the beach. We had meat pies, snags, and everyone's favourite thing to put on the barbie, prawns. And the pudding tasted so wonderful you'd think it was magic. That's the story of the war down under, folks. Goodbye, YouTube. I told him, "Listen mate, don't you didgeridoo." That's so bad. I also worked at Ben & Jerry's for a little while. Like 2 hours. No, don't look at my internet history, it's fine, I assure you. Anything that strange pops up is only because I'm a writer and it's called research. Okay, let's move on quickly.